Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Revolutionary Girl Utena episode 37. There are not that many episodes left. And a lot of stuff is happening. And it's happening kind of fast. Okay. So, last time on Utena, we had a pretty climactic duel between Toga with Saionji as his bride, and Utena with Anthe, of course. Where Toga, after talking with Utena and being with her up on top of the dueling arena, requested a duel from her personally, and said himself a couple of things about this duel, which are why I called it climactic. One being that this duel would be the one that would decide who would end up with the power to revolutionize the world, and the other being that he had to fight her in order to try to save her. Which implies that this whole dueling system is itself a trap. The bait of the power to revolutionize the world is not necessarily something you actually want to acquire, or it doesn't take the form that you might expect. It's always been super vague and nebulous, but at this point it's become more sinister and less of a worthy goal. It appeared to me that Toga wasn't fighting Utena in order to claim this power for himself, but in order to ensure that she did not end up, well, getting it. Which is interesting. Very interesting. And strange. But he lost. Utena won. And, oh, hold on. Before I go any further, I want to go and grab this comment and do a little piece of comment spotlight. And the person who wrote this edited it just a moment ago, so I'm actually not sure what I'm getting into here. Whoops. And let me screenshot it so that I can throw the image into the video. Olga Itty. I don't know. 9 minutes ago. Writes on the last episode, which I just released like 30 minutes ago, it's worth noting that Utena didn't, couldn't, summon Prince's soul in the final duel, but instead she talked about, "Trust me, I swear I'll protect you," to Anthe before the fight, and expected Anthe to enchant the sword with Dio's power, like the Black Rose arc. Without Dio's power, Utena couldn't defend herself with those high-speed cars hitting onto her. Toga is smart enough to know how to use the mechanism of the duel arena to create illusions. Like in one episode, Saionji saw the falling castle from the sky and went to kill Utena. Of course, Anthe would do it. Anthe already decided to make Utena be the sacrifice in last episode, because Utena is such a shameless high school girl, not only sleeping with an engaged man, her beloved brother, but also faking her prince, an imposter. So some of the English here is a little bit hard to dissect, but what's interesting here is that you're right, she didn't summon the prince's soul. She did rely on Anthe to do this, and the way that things are looking, especially with the final scenes of the last episode, it appears that the story that we've been told of Anthe as the witch is legitimate, and that she is super duper not to be trusted, and is potentially not just going along with Akio's plans, not just doting on her beloved brother, but actually the person inciting this. And that's kind of scary, because at this point, at least until she gets up from bed and sees what she sees, Anthe is probably the person that Utena trusts most in the school. So a betrayal from that front would be bad. Very bad. I still kind of hold out hope because I have this feeling like Anthe has a good core, and if that gets betrayed, I'm not going to be super happy about it. But at the same time, how intelligent would it be for a character like Anthe to remain quiet and slowly, quietly guide Utena toward the goal? Not Utena's goal, but to dangle bait in front of her, to play the damsel in distress repeatedly, and cause Utena to act as she has for the last long time. What I don't quite get about that is how that fits into this idea of Utena's princeliness, because Akio seems to be driving toward turning Utena into more of a princess than a prince, and she seems to have lost some of that nobility, if that's the word we'll use for it. She seems to have lost some of that since sleeping with him. A bit more girlish in certain ways. But it seems to me that Anthe would need Utena to remain a prince in order to perform her duty in the duels and keep going. In any case, there's a lot going on, and I'm pretty confused. But we ended the last episode on a pretty big cliffhanger as Utena gets up from their double bed and walks into what do you call it? Observatory? Let's go with that. Planetarium. Walks into the planetarium and sees a nude Anthe with much longer hair than usual. I assume just so that they could do the Venus hair, which is when the hair covers the boobs, you know? I assume that's why her hair is much longer in this scene, but it could also be something like making her seem more magical. A woman out of time, something strange. But Utena sees her, and from the way it's shot, it seems as though Anthe is staring right back at her, entirely aware that she's there, that she sees this. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is to shake Utena to her core and cause her to do something stupid. But I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. And that's the best way you can have antagonists is I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm afraid. That's the best thing you can ask for. So, where do we go from here? I don't know. What does Utena do when she sees this? Does she freak out the way that Nanami does? I don't think so. Does she feel betrayed because of her feelings toward Akio? Probably. But that's a different kind of betrayal than the one that like, we know this has been going on for a long time. This Anthe Akio thing. We don't know what's really happening there. It seems that this final duel that we saw last episode was Toga's last attempt. That scene where he and Sayonji are laying there and he asks, "Are we done? Is this the end for us?" Makes me think that the student council's importance for the duels may have run its course. Now, I could be surprised. Obviously, these characters have had 30 plus episodes of development, so they could be extremely important. I don't know. I feel like I'm babbling at this point, so I want to jump into the episode and see where we go and see what happens. So let's do that. I have episode 37 up and ready to go. It's at 0 seconds. There will be multiple versions of this reaction video. You can find picture-in-picture versions with the, oh, everything's dark. That's because I usually have a bright thing on this screen. There we go, that's better. A little bit more light. Picture-in-picture versions with the video up there will be in the description down there. Timer-based version on YouTube is what you're watching right now. It'll have discussion at the end and a beep-beep timer at the beginning. And that beep-beep timer, if you want to sync up with your own version of Utena, will go right here. Ish. Is this the morning after? And she's taking it off. There's no music. Yeah. Immediately notices. And he interrupts. This isn't mine, it's yours? She's so far away. Bouquet of colored roses. And letters to each of them? Bike like they were riding together on the day that they met her? In the coffin? And they're not going anywhere. I'm with you there. Date? Yep. You. But it would look better at the foot of my bed. Sorry. Yeah, but that's not what he means. And taking the ring off, that's the symbol, that's the tie to the nobility. Ha. Then why? This is awkward. No answer. Yeah, answer. All girls are like rose brides? Without a will of their own? Akio being end of the world has never been stated. It's is it Anthe? They're talking to Akio, right? But we can't. Would help to know what it means. And yet she's smiling. Yeah, she's not wearing her black and yellow digs. You do that on your own just fine, Nanami. Each of their bonds are now attached to Utena. Okay. Alright, Nanami. Wait, what? There are physical objects interspersed with it. This is completely different. Genki. So if the audition is the series of duels, the tryouts, if you will. Okay. I gotta just pay attention. All of the things that were stuck through her. And you just consumed it. That fucking skip. Ha ha. Funny. Funny joke. Well, dead if you're telling the truth. Whose rose is this? Why are we repeating this pan? Empty and then there. What is that red through the streets? What is this? The words of the letter? But Anthy's the one reading it. She wouldn't have seen it because Utena tore it up. She wrote it. Okay, so this seems like the preparation for climax episode. Build everything up, set everything in place, and then it starts. And we start with the removal of the ring. The day after. Utena looking at a reflection of herself. And this is the last, like, real tie to that prince persona. It seems from what Toga and Saionji say to Akio later that this is the goal, kind of. To replace Utena's prince ideal with the reality of Akio. To get her to give it up willingly. But at the same time, it seems like they need her to have that prince ideal in order to accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish with this whole revolutionize the world thing. And it's framed, at least by Nanami, as a triumph for them, for her to put the ring back on and go to the dueling arena, and as a loss for Utena by Toga and Saionji. Okay. That there's no music on this title card creates an air of ominousness? Something like that. Everyone has secrets they have to keep. Oh boy, you have no idea. He immediately notices the lack of the ring. She starts to ask him on a date. And then Anthe interrupts. She's done this a few times, now that I think about it. Not quite this, but it's usually when she's interacting with Choo-Choo, she'll do or say something that interrupts the flow of conversation and guides it in a different direction. It's interesting. This isn't mine, it's yours. And Choo-Choo looks abashed. Looks bashful, that's the word. When we turn back to Utena, like, space is warped now. She's right there, and then a second later, she's all the way away. Hoo-hoo. Then we've got these two on a bike, as in their childhood when they came across Utena, sort of bringing that full circle. But they're not going anywhere. The bike is on its stand. It's hard to see with the subtitles there. I actually missed that the first time, but you can see right under the E of well, right there. It's on its stand. Which is why it's not moving. She's taken off her princely garb. A letter quite different from ours. A farewell to each of them, and something else to her. So the power of Dios will remain sealed. I don't know what end of the world's ultimate goal is. Do you think Utena Tenjo knows now who End of the World really is? I don't think they do either. I don't think we do either. I think it's Anthe. No, it has been explicitly stated that Akio, the prince, became End of the World. And I don't know. Hoo, she says again, watering her roses. If the ring is the symbol of that whole prince persona and the tie to the prince from her past, and saying that it doesn't suit her is a rejection of everything that she's been up until now. The outfit that you're wearing definitely suits you. It's a feminine outfit too. I can give you a ring more suited to your new look. Seem very girlish. I am a girl, but that's not what he means. The awful truth, one of them at least, that he has no interest in stars, then why? Why does he claim to? Is it just illustrating how hollow he is? Maybe. And she comes back, and Anthe, of course, knows where she's been and what's happened. And Utena, of course, knows what she saw last night. But neither of them are going to address it. Not out in the open. And so there's this great distance between them. This huge divide. You could even say it's a divide with the stars, if they are still a representation of Akio, in the middle. Are you mad about what? In the end, girls are all like rose brides. This is a phrase that's heavy with meaning. What does it mean to be like a rose bride? Well, if Anthe is the rose bride, and Anthe is the witch, and Anthe is the tortured soul, and if Anthe has no free will and is bound to whoever the champion is, traded like property, treated like a slave, almost. Repeatedly expressed that she has no will of her own. Then this is a hell of a statement. But it also means that Utena's ability to be or not be girlish is something that she can control, right? She's able to break free of this. If this is the inevitability of being female, of being a girl, then Utena, by being more a prince than a girl, can avoid this. Maybe. And Anthe reaches out and grabs her hand. For the first time in the episode, it happens, I think, twice more. Once in what seems to be a dream sequence on the top of the tower, and once after they talk about the poisoning. If you go to that castle, you'll meet your prince. So much has happened since we first met. So much has happened. And she returns the embrace. But is this really goodbye? Keeping up the act till the very end, huh? A real man over her fantasy prince. And then he bursts into this other form of Akio. What I guess I would call end of the world form, but now I'm questioning that. I'm questioning fucking everything. Ah. Oh god. She has to make the choice. And the choice is not yet made. And then we're back here. If I remember correctly, one of the first scenes we ever see of Utena is her breaking ankles playing basketball. It was a way of expressing how she bucks gender norms. But here there's no joy in this play for her. She is dead serious and seems to be thinking of something else. It seems my brother loves you as well. And there's this line. I wish we could all stay like this forever. As though something terrible is about to happen. This is an interesting statement. If we buy that she is the eternal witch, the immortal tortured witch, then why would she want this? That would mean endless torment. And if she and Akio are responsible for inciting change, then this is a bold-faced lie. Wham! Such impact in that tear. And no response from Anthe. She just watches. So these two, the most sympathetic or friendliest of the student council members that we've dueled before, come on over. The letters say that you've been chosen. The power to revolutionize the world, huh? Sort of amazing, isn't it? It sounds like it, but what does it mean? And I have to wonder if this power to revolutionize the world is a crazy meta thing. That the show is doing that by questioning certain things that are taken for granted. About gender, prince, the nature of love, purpose, all sorts of things. I have to wonder, but I don't think that will become clear until the end. I don't get the feeling that this is going to do an end of Eva type of thing. But it could. All I can do is think of myself. She smiles. You love her, don't you? Not quite that way. I'm not sure. And then she struggles. Himamiya and I. And she doesn't come to any conclusion there. Nanami interrupts. Haven't you figured out you're being tricked? What does Nanami know that Utena doesn't? Nothing as far as I know. Utena has now seen the planetarium at night. She's seen Anthe and Akio together. Yeah, and Nanami is back to a classic uniform. Not doing that stuff anymore. And she warns her. But this is all very friendly, you know? Yeah, we know you're pretty obsessive, Nanami. And it smiles all around. She's made an impression on all of them, and we see each of their ties from before. Shiori and I forget his sister's name. They're far away. They seem more interested in Utena. Replace the picture in the locket. So still being the same way, but with a different target for their affections. Now that she's become more girlish. Interesting. And just like that, they're gone. Okay, then we get a Shadow Players scene, and this one is different from every other one. And here's why. They're physical objects in the frame. And we're talking about them as the Kashira Shadow Players, as though they're that club. A high school drama club. Okay. So, I'll be an actress. And just like that, you land a role in a movie, get thrust into the limelight, get caught in a flashy scandal, and end up with all the magazines talking about you. And again, physical objects in frame. You just want a taste of what that life is like. Go guy, go guy, go guy. Daddy? Only one girl can be chosen. Seems like there are a lot of parallels here between that audition process and the selection process for the one who will gain the power to revolutionize the world. But like everything, it's... I don't know. Alright, and then we go through a drive. We go for a drive. And Anthe is in agony. Although it's hard to distinguish agony from pleasure here. And he's no longer the calm and confident, cool and collected driver. He's like driven. Are you in pain? Well, I'm not the one who causes it. The world is. And there are the spikes that we saw sticking out of her. So that could make sense if the world is what causes Anthe pain because of her choices, because of her choice to keep the prince to herself. Then there are two options. Give up what she's held hostage, or revolutionize the world, change the way that the world thinks about princes and witches. Now this is really weird. Each of them claims to have poisoned the other, and neither of them addresses it, or stops consuming the thing that they claim to be poisoned. It's as though it's, haha, funny joke. But it's not a joke. I have to assume that this is... I have to guess, I'm not going to say assume. I have to guess that this is referring to the tension under their relationship. The way that such things go sour. That they're still acting as though they're good friends when each of them knows something about the other that hasn't been resolved. Poison used by the Borgia. Let's Google that really quick. Cantarella. So it seems to either have been a fictional poison or arsenic. Okay. It's a poison. By the way, you like them cookies? Anthe never says, I put poison in your cookies, but Utena does. I put poison in your tea. She responds, oh, great, it's delicious. And we get this rose. Usually roses that appear like this have to do with one of the characters in frame. But in this case, it's a red rose. Anthe's rose is her hair color, and so is Utena's. Or Utena's is the white princely rose. So what is this rose? Usually that's Toga's color, right? So why is it here? Strange. This tea is delicious. So is the cookie. Okay, and then we get some interesting stuff. So we do this pan. We pan over and they're there. We pan over again with the rose there and they're gone. We pan over with the rose gone and they're there. And they make a promise to each other. And clasp hands once more. 10 years from now, we'll be sipping tea. And Anthe squeezes a little bit tighter. And we pan down through the city, and it almost looks like there's blood in the streets. I don't know if that's intentional. Anthe's on top of a building throwing herself off. And Utena just keeps saying, "You're running away?" She keeps begging for forgiveness. Reaches out and grabs her by the arm. "Just let me go." "No, we have a promise. Forgive me, forgive me." I don't know how much to trust that scene. It doesn't seem like it was real. It seems entirely symbolic or a dream, but not like a specific character's dream. More like a dream of the show. I know that sounds weird. I don't know if it makes any sense. But I don't think it should be taken literally. I don't think that that literally happened. That the night before this duel, before Utena goes to the dueling arena, Anthe literally tried to throw herself off a building. Seems like something else. Like she wants the pain to end. But Utena is reaching out and anchoring her there with the promise. The promise of the future. There's a lot of talk of the future in this episode. It seems to me at this point that perhaps Anthe is one of those characters who, forced into endless torment, is just trying to escape it. And sees the opportunity in Utena, perhaps for someone to take her place. Perhaps to drag her with her. The way she apologizes there is so real. I believe it. Which is weird to say. Because, like, 45 minutes ago I was saying, Anthe's evil. I'm not so sure anymore. I don't think it's that clear cut. I think it's pretty clear that Anthe is taking actions that will, if they succeed, cause harm to Utena. But it's not clear what her motivations are, why she's doing these things. I think that's the important part here. Whoever believes in true friendship is a fool, he says while standing next to his true friend. And she embraces that. I am a fool. And then Anthe reads out the letter. When you pass through the rose gate, the path to the castle will open. There you will gain the power to bring the world revolution. And there we will meet once more. Signed, the end of the world. No, signed, your prince. Ah. A very different letter. And there was some conflict between Anthe's words and actions here. There's still time. You can still turn back, she says while handing her the invitation, almost beckoning her forward. There's a conflict there. And Utena stands. No. Let's go. And Anthe smiles. This is the choice that she wanted, I think. So, no need for the letter. Lets it fly. Fiend. Okay. So, here's my game plan. I'm going to do just this episode this week, and then next week, barring weird things, personal life that get in the way, which I doubt will happen, or just exhaustion, because Thursdays are pretty jam-packed. Like, it's only 5 p.m. now, but I've been making videos since 9 a.m., and now I'm finishing. Shit takes a while. It's kind of tiring. But anyway, what I think I'll do is we will finish Revolutionary Girl Utena next week. We'll do both ending episodes because it seemed like this was a setup episode, and then I assume it's going to take 2 to do the full finale. So it only makes sense to do them together and have the whole thing to discuss. Let me know if you think that's a terrible idea. That would be really appreciated. If that's really stupid, then I won't do it. But it seems like a good idea from where I stand right now. So we'll see. I'm impressed by how little I know that I know. Does that make sense? I know many things that have occurred in the show, but I don't trust almost any of them. There's a deep unreliability in everything that makes everything subject to question. And that's really interesting and kind of unique and enjoyable. It's kind of fun to not know. And to know that there's more to unpack, more to understand if you want to. That's always interesting. It does feel like watching this, I'm standing on a precipice and that I'm looking into the beginning of the end of the world. Sorry. This episode also felt like kind of a goodbye to a lot of the characters. A last hurrah for Juri and Miki and Nanami, Sayonji and Toga. It seems like we'll trim down to just the necessary pieces in the dueling arena. And in the castle, maybe. Who will that be and who, how will they act? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's going to involve Akio, Anthe, Utena, and the prince. If the prince is actually a person and not an ideal or incarnated in one of those 3. Side note, what happened to Wakaba? Where's she been? She's been gone for a while. haven't seen much of her. I think she showed up for a little bit just a couple episodes ago. But it feels like forever. Well, this show continues to be intellectually stimulating, let's call it that. And artistically, it's interesting. We'll finish it next week. I'm going to finish this video now. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Utena, episode 37. I hope you've enjoyed it as much or more than I have. I hope you'll leave thoughts in the comments, whatever you want to say. By the time this video goes up... No, never mind. I was going to give you free reign to spoil stuff, but don't, because I don't know that I'll, for certain, that I'll watch both next week, and I also don't know whether this will go up. It could go up like a couple hours before I've actually watched the finale, so don't do that. But anything spoiler free that you want to comment, please feel free. Please go ahead. I'd love to read them. I hope to see you there. Peace.